I want to give up on this book. Have you told yourself this in the past few days or weeks? I know exactly how you feel. I have been working on a novel for the past, what has it been? It's been 5 years now. And I feel it's still far from being done. And I seriously thought about giving up on this book. A few years back, I'm sure I was going through this same phase, the same feeling when I wrote a little note to myself, and it reminded me why I want this book. I want to share this note with you, which is personal, but I feel it might give you that slight nudge to keep going. It's not uncommon to feel like we are not good enough and that our work doesn't matter. But I hate to break it to you. It does, and you are not alone in this. I don't think there is any writer in the world who has not at one point or another felt this way. Writing is a lonely art. I'm sure you've heard this. You are in your own little space, mostly in the world created by you, with characters created by you. But in the real world, there aren't any who can relate with what you are doing. Even if there are people who support you and encourage you, they don't know what it's like to struggle with a plot point for weeks and months, or how the characters' flaws are not working out for your story. And even if you make it through the writing phase, the revisions, rewrites, and editing phase can be so discouraging. I know, I'm in that phase. And the voices in your head don't help. They don't hesitate to point out how bad your book is and that you are an imposter. In group activities, you have the support of others who are in the same boat, so to say, as you are. But as a writer, you are alone with your notebook or your computer, and all you have is yourself as your motivator. And when the negative voices start talking and you start doubting yourself, remember, you are not alone. You're not alone in this experience. It's important to remember that. Can you think about a book that has made the most impact on you? A book that has helped you in a difficult time. A book that helped you escape the bully at school. A book that was your escape during an abusive time in your life. Imagine if that book was never written. Imagine if the writer of that book gave into the doubts that she or he was dealing with and never finished that first draft or the revision process. Imagine if they never pursued a publisher or gave up on publishing it when rejected. Imagine if that book never existed during that period of your life when it gave you joy, hope, allowed you to escape reality. That's why your book matters. It matters because there is that one person who is depending on your book. And you have to remember that, especially on days when you feel like quitting. If you're like me, then write it down and remind yourself to read it on the days when you need someone to cheer you on. Be your own cheerleader. Set up systems in place. And I talk about it when it comes to setting goals and stuff, but really it should be applied in all areas of your life. Have systems in place that will catch you when you fall, that will hold you when you don't have enough strength to carry on. These systems will get you through those hard days. And it's not just going to be your inner voice discouraging you. More often, it will be people in your life who will tell you how bad your work is or how delusional you are to even think that you can be a writer or a published author. Pause and think about their qualification. What makes them qualified to give you that critique? We Indians think we are qualified to tell an astronaut how to do his job. So take that into account when you have negative people telling you why you shouldn't be doing this. You might also have qualified people from the industry telling you why your work can't be published. It's good to have some self-awareness about your work and acknowledge that you might need to work on your book a little more before you can publish it. But also remember that many famous authors who were rejected not once, not twice, but 12 times like J.K. Rowling and 30 times like Stephen King. Sometimes it's not even your work, it's the time, the industry that's not ready for your work. What do you do then? Give up? No. You go back to why you were writing in the first place. Why it matters to you that you keep writing and keep working on your craft. That why has to be strong enough to keep you afloat in a sea of rejections and negative voices. Write it down somewhere that you can see or pull up when you need that reminder. You matter. Your work matters. Your struggle matters because that's part of your story. The fun and games part of the story doesn't matter unless we see the all is lost moments of the story. Let's talk about success a little. I started a blog a while back and I did a little activity. I wrote down what needed to happen for me to feel I am successful at blogging. I never achieved what I wanted with blogging, but I discovered this wonderful technique of writing down what success means for me every time I start a new project. When I started this YouTube channel, I did the same. I wrote down what needs to happen which will make me feel that this was successful. It was getting 90 subscribers. 90. You might think that's ridiculous. That's a very low goal. I get many comments pointing out that my channel is not growing fast enough and that there aren't many views. But it's not true because success is subjective. I'm grateful for the 2,500 plus subscribers that I have, the over 1 lakh views on this channel, but I felt the same gratitude and the same joy when I hit the 90 subscribers point. This is to tell you that you define what success means to you. For someone else, it might be nothing, and others might be working hard to get even half of what you have achieved. For you, just writing and enjoying that might mean you are successful. For someone, getting their first book published might mean success. And no one said that you can't update your definition of success. Once you have achieved what you initially set out to and you have the success you wanted, it's time to update that. From getting published to having a bestseller as your yardstick of success makes total sense. As we grow as a writer, the quality of work that we will accept from ourselves will continue to change from each book that we write. And so the success definition will also keep changing. One of the things that I am struggling with right now, with the book that I'm working on right now, is that my writing is not good. If I look at myself and my work as an outsider, I tell myself that you're being too hard on yourself. But it's hard in that moment not to think that I am having a bad writing day, bad writing week, even a month of bad writing. And it's what inspired me to make this podcast. No matter how hard it is, there is nothing like a bad writing day. Because even on bad writing days, you're putting in the work that is required to attain mastery. Mastery comes from repetition, and that means bad writing days too. None of this is revolutionary idea or thought that I'm saying. Over 600 years ago, Sant Kabir wrote, "Karat karat abhyas ke jarmati hot sujan, rasri avat jaat te sil par parat nisan." There is no shortcut to success, and repetition, practice makes you a master. Anyone who is anything in life has faced self-doubt at one point or another or wanted to quit altogether. But only the ones who pushed past those bad days made it to see the success that they defined for themselves. It's hard to face rejections. But what does that truly mean? What is rejection? Is it to tell you that you or your work is not worth it, or is it a redirection? Does your work need more time to develop into the potential that it has? Or perhaps you're not ready for the success that's in your future and you need to become that person before you achieve that success. Or maybe you are the person who figures out a way to the other side that no one has yet. How we look at hardship that comes our way makes a world of difference. Imagine how it would feel to get something without asking for it versus something that you had to work hard and overcome obstacles and grow as a person, acquire unique new skills. Who is a richer person? How did you grow as a person while working on your writing, your book, your story? Because that is part of your story, a story that matters and a good enough reason not to quit, not just yet. I hope you found some value in this episode. Like this video if you did. There are more episodes like this to come, so subscribe. You'll also find the transcripts to this podcast on my website, which is linked in the show notes below. And I'll see you in the next one.